Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. The Rocky Mountains stretched as far as the eye could see, their snow-capped peaks piercing the clouds like stone fingers reaching for the sky. The wind howled relentlessly, whistling between the rocks and the fir trees, carrying with it the secrets of the wilderness. In this realm of solitude and grandeur, every sound was amplified: the crack of a branch, the rustle of an animal in the snow, the cold breath of the air biting at the skin. Above this icy panorama, an immense eagle, with deep brown plumage and eyes as golden as the setting sun, cleaved the air with almost divine majesty. His name was Eagleton, and he reigned over this expanse with infinite vigilance. His piercing eyes missed nothing, perceiving even the slightest movement in the valley below. That morning, as dawn tinged the mountaintops with pink and orange, Eagleton heard a strange sound. It was neither the cry of another bird, nor the whisper of the wind. It was a sob, faint, fragile, almost swallowed by the immensity of the mountain. The eagle's heart clenched in a strange way. Curious and uneasy, he followed the sound, circling above the steep cliffs and snow-covered forests. After several minutes of precise and silent flight, he finally spotted the source of the sound: a little girl, alone, sitting on a rock, her knees drawn up to her chest. Her blonde hair was tangled and frosted, and her face expressed fear, weariness, and incomprehension. Her blind eyes reflected a world she could not see, but which seemed to overflow with pain and loneliness. Eagleton swooped down, his broad wings kicking up a cloud of snow and dust. He landed gently before her, without threat, letting the silence speak for itself. The little girl raised her trembling hands, instinctively seeking contact, and brushed against the eagle's feathers. An unexpected warmth filled her frozen heart. She was no longer alone. In that suspended moment, the mountain itself seemed to hold its breath. The wind, the cold, and the snow no longer mattered. All that mattered was the silent but profound bond that had just been born between a lost girl and an eagle that had decided to watch over her. It was the beginning of a story that no one would forget, a story of courage, compassion, and pure love, born in the wild solitude of the mountains, where destiny had decided to bring them together. The icy mountain air bit at Lily Harper's cheeks, but her mind was even colder than her body. Sitting on a frozen rock, she shivered with cold and fear, unable to understand why the world had abandoned her here. Her hands reached for something to comfort herself, but there was nothing. Every sound seemed too loud, every gust of wind too fierce. Then, the sound of flapping wings rang out, louder, closer. Lily flinched, her heart pounding. She stretched out her hands, unable to see, but guided by a strange intuition. A massive figure appeared before her, an eagle, enormous, imposing, yet whose gaze reflected an unexpected gentleness. Its feathers shone a deep brown in the first rays of sunlight, and its golden eyes seemed to pierce the mist like soothing flames. Lily instinctively stepped back, but something in the eagle's demeanor prevented her from fleeing. It showed no aggression. On the contrary, it bowed slightly, as if to say, "I won't hurt you." After a long silence, Lily murmured, Who are you?" Of course, the eagle didn't respond with words, but with a movement. It drew closer, lowering its head so the little girl could touch its feathers. A gentle warmth spread through Lily's heart, a mixture of comfort and fascination. For the first time since that icy morning, she felt that someone understood her distress. Eagleton, the eagle, took a step aside, then came back to her, as if inviting her to follow him. Hesitantly, Lily placed her hand on the warm back of his feathers and stood up, feeling for the first time that her fragile, trembling legs could be guided safely. The eagle flew slowly, and Lily walked behind him, her hands skimming the air as if she were following an invisible rope. Every step seemed improbable, every breath a challenge, but Eagleton never left her alone. The mountain, once hostile and cold, now seemed to become a path of trust. The wind continued to blow, but this time it carried a promise: Lily was no longer alone in this cruel world. And so began their strange and wonderful friendship, where a majestic eagle and a little blind girl would learn to see the world through the heart, listening, and trust. The biting mountain wind whistled around them, but Lily no longer felt such fear. Every step behind Eagleton was an adventure, every brush of his feathers a promise of safety. The snow crunched beneath her feet and sometimes she stumbled, but the eagle always stayed close, his immense shadow protecting her every move. After several minutes of arduous walking, Eagleton stopped in front of an imposing rock formation. The wall formed a kind of natural cave, hidden from the wind and prying eyes. Sunlight filtered through a narrow opening, gently illuminating the snow and stones inside. Lily sat on the cold ground, drawing her knees up to her chest. She felt fatigue sink into her shoulders. Eagleton gently descended beside her, spreading his wings like a protective shield. Lily reached out, lightly touching the eagle's warm, soft plumage. A shiver of comfort ran through her. She was no longer alone. Hours passed, and Lily listened to the sounds of the mountain, the distant creak of a tree under the weight of snow, the soft murmur of a frozen stream, the steady breath of the eagle beside her. Each sound, each vibration had become a guide. Eagleton seemed to be teaching her to feel the world differently, to hear it rather than see it. As the cold lessened thanks to the eagle's warmth, a new feeling settled in Lily's heart, security. The cave, once a dark and lonely place, had become a refuge, a sanctuary where she could finally breathe without fearing the unknown. Eagleton leaned towards her, gently resting his head against her trembling hands. Lily felt an emotion she had never known before, absolute trust. She didn't need to see to know she was protected, that she was loved, in a silent but infinitely profound way. And so it was, in the depths of this icy cave, that the bond began between an abandoned girl and a majestic eagle, a bond where courage, love and compassion mingled to defy loneliness and fear. The days passed in the cave, and Lily began to grow accustomed to Eagleton's presence. Although she couldn't see, her other senses were gradually awakening. Every sound, every breath of wind, every crunch of snow became a guide to understanding the world around her. The patient and attentive eagle had become her silent teacher. One morning, as sunlight filtered through the narrow opening of the cave, Eagleton took flight just a few feet away, beating his wings powerfully. Lily held out her hands, feeling the vibration in the air, the warm breath brushing against her face. She strained her ears and, for the first time, heard the hidden music of nature, the rustling of branches, the distant moaning of the wind, the murmur of water flowing beneath the ice. Listen, the eagle might have said, if only it could speak. But for Lily, silence was more eloquent than 1,000 words. She understood that it was showing her how to see with her ears, how to understand the geography of the mountain through its vibrations and sounds. For hours they explored the surrounding valley, Eagleton flying lightly above her, and Lily following the sounds he indicated. Each step was a lesson, how to feel the ground beneath her feet, how to recognize an animal by its call, how to anticipate changes in the weather by the wind. The mountain, once hostile and frightening, was transforming into a living, rich, and comprehensible world. One night, as the wind howled louder than ever, Lily placed her hands on the eagle's warm back and whispered, "Thank you, for not abandoning me." Eagleton gently rubbed his head against hers, as if to answer, "Never." For the first time, Lily felt what it meant to be protected, loved, and guided by a loyal friend, even without sight. The bond between her and the eagle grew stronger every day, weaving a trust and intimacy that even words could not express. And so, amidst the icy mountains, Lily began to understand that the world could be discovered in 1,000 different ways, and that sometimes, true insight comes from the heart and not the eyes. The days passed, but despite the warmth and protection of Eagleton, a shadow lingered in Lily's heart. The mountain, with all its wild beauty, could not erase the weight of her past. One night, as the cave was plunged into a reassuring semi-darkness, Lily collapsed onto the snow inside, her knees drawn up to her chest. Her trembling fingers brushed against the eagle's plumage, as if trying to grasp something alive and secure. She murmured, almost to herself, I don't understand. Why did they leave me alone? Why didn't anyone come to get me?" Eagleton approached gently, lowering his head until their contact was intimate and reassuring. His golden eyes seemed to pierce the fog of Lily's distress, reflecting pure empathy. The eagle could not speak, but every movement, every breath, every brush of his wings said, "I understand. I am here for you." Lily closed her eyes and let her memories flood back, an empty house, laughter fading away, doors slamming behind her, and the heavy silence of a solitude she had thought would last forever. Her sobs mingled with the howling wind outside, but inside the cave, she felt Eagleton's presence, unwavering and constant. At that precise moment, something extraordinary happened, a silent, almost magical connection formed between them. The eagle sensed the little girl's deep pain and made it its own, as if each painful memory became a part of its very being. The mountain itself seemed to hold its breath, as if to honor this moment of pure empathy. Lily murmured between sobs, "I've never had a friend, never." Eagleton gently rubbed his head against her shoulder, offering a comfort that transcended words. For the first time since she had been abandoned, Lily felt that her pain was understood, that her loneliness could be shared. The cold, indifferent mountain had become a sanctuary thanks to the eagle's presence. That night, Lily understood a fundamental truth: even amidst the greatest pain, compassion and love could exist in unexpected forms. And Eagleton, majestic and silent, was living proof that the world could still offer comfort to those who had been forgotten. Night fell on the mountain, enveloping the cave in an almost supernatural silence. Outside, the wind howled, making the trees tremble and the snow slide against the rocks. Lily, huddled on the icy ground, shivered despite her layers of clothing. Her heart pounded, not only from the cold, but also from the fear that something evil might emerge from the darkness. Eagleton, ever watchful, approached her and spread his immense wings to form a protective cocoon around the little girl. The steady beat of his wings and the warmth of his body offered shelter from the icy wind. Lily rested her head against the eagle's warm plumage and felt an unprecedented calm wash over her. The fear that had haunted her since her abandonment began to fade, replaced by a profound trust. As the wind howled and snow battered the cave, a more ominous sound caught Lily's attention: the crack of a heavy branch, broken by the ice, threatened to fall onto the entrance. She froze, but Eagleton moved immediately, positioning himself between her and the danger. His wings opened even wider, like a living wall, and his golden eyes stared into the darkness with awe-inspiring vigilance. Lily felt her hands tremble on the eagle's back and whispered, "Thank you. I've never been so scared, and at the same time, I feel safe." The eagle gently rubbed its head against hers, responding with a silent but profound gesture: "You are no longer alone." That night, the cave became a sanctuary of courage and trust. The mountain, usually cruel and unforgiving, seemed to recognize the bond between the child and the eagle. Every gust of wind, every crack of ice, every breath of night became an ordeal that Lily faced with Eagleton's unwavering support. When morning broke, bringing soft, golden light to the snow-capped peaks, Lily had changed. Her heart, once filled with fear and loneliness, now beat with a mixture of courage and hope. She had understood something essential: even amidst danger and the unknown, protection, compassion, and courage could arise from an unexpected friend. And so, thanks to that stormy and frightening night, Lily and Eagleton strengthened their bond, silently vowing to always stay together, no matter what. The sun had barely risen when Lily and Eagleton reached the edge of a raging torrent. The ice was melting rapidly in the morning light, and the water roared and cascaded over the rocks, threatening to sweep everything away. Lily felt a surge of adrenaline, a mixture of fear and excitement. Instinctively, she reached out to touch Eagleton's reassuring plumage. The eagle, aware of the danger, flew lightly above the ground, beating its powerful wings. It circled Lily, encouraging her to keep her balance. The little girl understood that this ordeal was greater than anything she had ever faced before. The torrent wasn't just challenging their bodies, it was testing their mutual trust. "I can do it. I can do it," Lily whispered to herself, but her voice was trembling. Without warning, a piece of ice broke off and slid into the water. The ground beneath Lily's feet partially gave way, and she felt herself slipping. In a swift movement, Eagleton seized the little girl in his powerful talons and soared into the air. The wind and the roar of the water created a deafening cacophony, but Lily felt an incredible sense of security in the eagle's strength and resolve. With her eyes closed, she felt the torrent recede rapidly below, each beat of Eagleton's wings seeming to chase away the fear. For the first time, Lily experienced absolute freedom. She was no longer bound to the ground or the dangers that surrounded her. She floated in a world where confidence and courage had replaced fear. When Eagleton landed on a solid rock on the other side of the stream, Lily trembled, exhausted but safe. She placed her hands on the eagle's warm plumage and whispered, "You saved me. I will never forget you." The eagle gently rubbed its head against hers, as if to say, "We are together. Always." This moment marked a turning point in their relationship. Lily understood that she could face the worst trials if she had someone to support her, and Eagleton realized that protecting the little girl was more than just a responsibility, it had become a mission of the heart. As the sun bathed the torrent in golden light, Lily smiled for the first time since her abandonment. The mountain, once frightening and hostile, had become a place of learning, courage, and hope, thanks to the unlikely but unbreakable friendship between a blind girl and a majestic eagle. After the ordeal of the torrent, a new rhythm settled into Lily and Eagleton's lives. Each day became a learning experience, a moment when the eagle showed her that the world could be discovered differently, without sight. The mountain, with its dangers and wonders, transformed into a natural classroom, and Lily, eager to understand, was an attentive and courageous student. Eagleton encouraged her to open her hands and ears, to feel the ground beneath her feet and listen to the wind. He showed her how to distinguish the rustle of a fox in the snow from the whisper of a tree shaken by the wind. Every sound was a map, every vibration a path to follow. Lily was learning to see with her heart and her senses. One morning, as they walked along a narrow path at the edge of a cliff, Eagleton circled above her, beating his wings rhythmically. Lily felt the wind on her face, the eagle's warm, powerful breath, and understood that the movements of the air could tell her distance and direction. She raised her hands, trying to grasp these subtleties, and managed to sense the presence of trees and rocks even before she touched them. "You see?" Eagleton seemed to say with his golden eyes and the tilt of his head. Lily smiled, realizing that she could sense the world in a new and extraordinary way. Each day, their bond grew stronger. Lily learned to listen to the mountain's stories. The cry of a bird announced rain, the crunch of snow beneath her feet revealed the presence of animals, and the wind spoke to her of changing weather. The eagle, with patience and perseverance, transformed Lily's fear into curiosity and trust. One evening, as the sky turned orange and purple, Lily placed her hands on Eagleton's warm back and whispered, "Thank you, for teaching me to see things differently." The eagle rubbed its head against hers, and for a moment, the whole world seemed to stand still. Lily understood that true vision resided not only in the eyes, but in the heart and mind. Through Eagleton, she was discovering a universe that few could perceive, a world filled with sounds, vibrations, and sensations that spoke louder than any image. This chapter of their lives marked the beginning of a profound transformation. Lily was no longer a lost and frightened child. She became an explorer of the world, guided by instinct, confidence, and the unwavering love of a majestic friend. After several weeks spent exploring and learning in the mountains, Lily and Eagleton lived in a fragile but comforting balance. Each day brought its share of discoveries, fears overcome, and moments of quiet tenderness. But one morning, a new sound shattered the tranquility of their refuge: human voices. At first, they were indistinct, lost in the wind and snow, but soon Lily recognized something: calls that seemed to be searching for her name. Her heart sank. Part of her wanted to run toward those voices, to find the warmth and security of humans again, but another part was afraid of being rejected once more. Eagleton sensed her hesitation. With a beat of his wings, he guided her along a safe path, hovering above the ground to show her the way. Lily stretched out her hands, lightly touching the air and the ground, and followed the eagle's trajectory, learning to interpret sounds and movements with newfound precision. When they finally reached the clearing from which the voices had come, Lily felt human arms reaching out to her. Researchers and valley dwellers, worried yet determined, had been searching for her for days. Tears welled up in Lily's eyes, not from fear, but from pure emotion. She heard the relief and joy in their voices, but deep down, she knew she would never truly be alone as long as Eagleton was by her side. The humans were stunned when they saw the immense eagle soaring just above her, like a silent guardian. One of the researchers whispered. He protected her all this time. Lily felt the eagle's warmth against her and murmured in turn. Thank you, for never leaving me alone. Eagleton gently rubbed his head against hers, a silent gesture filled with an emotion no one else could understand. The villagers, moved by this improbable scene, wept at the profound bond between the blind girl and the majestic eagle. That day, Lily understood that friendship and loyalty know no bounds or species. She rediscovered human warmth, but the protective and faithful gaze of her winged friend reminded her that some bonds transcend anything one can imagine. The mountain, which had been their isolated world, had prepared Lily for this moment where courage, trust, and love would meet for the first time. When Lily was finally embraced by the villagers, a wave of emotion washed over her. Tears welled up in her eyes, and although she couldn't see their faces, she felt the warmth and compassion in every gesture. Voices trembled with relief and newfound love, and for the first time in a long time, Lily felt she belonged, that she had a place in this world. Eagleton, perched on a nearby rock, watched the scene with his piercing golden eyes. Every smile, every tender gesture from the humans seemed to strengthen the invisible bond between him and the little girl. He had watched over her in the mountains, braved the cold, the wind, and the danger, and now he saw the reward for his loyalty, Lily's happiness and safety. An old man, who had led the search, murmured. It's incredible, she might never have made it on her own, but that eagle protected her. Lily, trembling but happy, placed her hands on Eagleton's warm plumage and whispered. Thank you. I will never forget you. At that moment, the villagers realized that this unique bond was stronger than any words. Some wept, others smiled in wonder. The emotion was palpable, almost tangible. Each beat of the eagle's wings seemed to respond to Lily's gratitude, each breath of wind carried with it proof of a silent but unwavering love. For Lily, that moment was a turning point. She had been lost, abandoned, alone in the face of a cruel world, but thanks to Eagleton, she had found not only survival, but also love, confidence, and resilience. Her eyes may not have seen, but her heart saw more than ever. As the sun slowly sank behind the mountains, flooding the valley with golden light, Lily smiled fully for the first time. She knew she had been saved, not only by the strength and courage of the eagle, but also by the loyalty and compassion of a friend who loved her unconditionally. And in that moment of shared gratitude, the whole world seemed to hold its breath, silently celebrating the improbable miracle of friendship and protection. The days that followed were filled with joy, laughter, and discovery for Lily. She learned to move confidently among the villagers, but her heart still belonged to the mountain and to the one who had saved her, Eagleton. The eagle returned every morning, soaring above the houses, its broad, majestic wings tracing arcs in the sky. Lily could sense it even before she saw it, and every time their hands touched, a shiver of pure emotion ran through her. Lily had changed. Blindness was no longer a barrier, but a strength. Thanks to Eagleton, she saw with her heart and senses, perceiving the beauty of the world in a way few could understand. The mountain, once cold and hostile, had taught her courage, trust, and unconditional love. One afternoon, as the sun bathed the valley in golden light, Lily stood on a hilltop with Eagleton at her side. She stretched out her hands to him and whispered. Thank you, Eagleton, for everything. I will never forget you. The eagle gently rubbed its head against her, as if to answer, never. This unique bond became legendary in the village. The locals told the story of the blind girl and the majestic eagle that had saved her, inspiring courage and hope in all who heard it. But for Lily and Eagleton, words were unnecessary. Their friendship was silent, eternal, and absolute. Even as Lily grew up and life took her to other horizons, Eagleton always returned. Each encounter was a reaffirmation of the unbreakable bond they had forged in the mountains, a bond of protection, loyalty, and pure love. And so, in a world that can sometimes seem cruel and unforgiving, Lily and Eagleton demonstrated a simple but profound truth, that true friendship transcends difference, that courage is born in adversity, and that the heart can see more than the eyes. The wind continued to blow across the mountains, the birds continued to fly, but the bond between Lily and Eagleton remained, immutable and eternal, like a beacon of hope for all who believe in the power of love and compassion.